Here's a short video on how I built I think a very nice looking Art Deco clock. Very simple. I used natural birch to build this, and I'll show you how. Here is the clock. Again, it is those two things on the sides, left and right, are just half-inch stock. The main body of the clock is made out of 3/4 inch stock. I just put a very simple, like 1/16 of an inch backing on it. The interior is just another piece of flat stock with a couple of blocks on it. I'll explain those in a minute, with your movement and your clock face that you can draw yourself. And then as a spacer to space the clock face from the glass, because the hands stick out almost a half an inch, I made a little 4-sided spacer. You can see it, it's like a little picture frame. Again, I'll explain this in a moment. And then the glass goes in front of that on a little rabbet that you've cut in the stock that you make the main frame or the main body out of. Then that simply just slides in there up against that little frame spacer. Those blocks push up against the back that you put on, which holds the whole thing together nice and tight. So I will walk through these steps. I'll give you dimensions. Super easy to build. I measured it up, and I'll give you all the dimensions in detail in the coming animation, showing you each piece as it was cut and how I did it. Again, super simple, super easy to create. First, you just start by creating kind of a piece of stock, and this piece is 2 3/8 by 3/4. So just 3/4 inch material, 2 3/8 by 3/4. And then I simply take these rabbet cuts out of it. I take that big cut out of it by standing it on edge and running it through the table saw. And then this little 1/8 by 1/8 rabbet I do with a little tiny rabbeting router bit. I take that rabbet out there as well, and this rabbet out here as well. So that is the stock you use to build the main frame of the clock. And again, that's done with just mitered corners. So I will show that close up now as you see this clock kind of come apart. Those two little side things are 1/2 inch stock. I'll give you the dimensions of those in a moment. But the main body of the clock, again, is that piece you've created with all those rabbets in it. It's 4.5 inches wide by 6 1/4 inches tall and 2 3/8 deep. Again, just miter those corners, glue it up like you'd do a picture frame, and that is how you may build the main body of the clock. The back, you can make it out of plastic or thin plywood or planed wood, whatever you want to do. The piece of wood that holds the clock face and the clock movement and these blocks, you can make that out of anything you want because it doesn't show. But what you're trying to do is space so that your back of the clock holds everything tight when it's slid together. So there's just a view of the front end of that. Then this little frame, which is a 1/2 inch deep, that spaces the clock face from the glass, is made out of little 1/8 inch strips with tiny little 1/16 by 1/16 rabbets on the ends, and those are literally loose fit. They just slide down in the hole. Those rabbets keep the thing from collapsing to the center. It holds it in a square. So I just cut those loose and slide them down into the clock up against the glass, and they will stay put. And the back of the clock will hold everything in place. So there's just that little frame, and then there's a piece of glass. Again, cut to the inside dimension. The little rabbet you made on the first piece of stock is what holds the glass from pushing out the front of the clock. And so you see that you just build that frame, slide the glass in, build this little spacer frame, slide that in, slide the clock face in with the clock movement, and put the back on. You have a finished clock. Then these two little decorations on the sides to give it the kind of Art Deco look are made out of half-inch stock. Here I'm giving you the dimensions of the whole body of the clock again. And you can zoom in if you can't read those, but I gave you those dimensions a little bit earlier. So once you've made this little center box, all the rabbets, the glass, the little spacer frame, the backing, the clock movement, you need to make these two pieces. And all these are half-inch stock. The larger one is, I'll give you the dimensions here in a minute. The larger one is 1 3/4 by 5 1/4 with a little 1/8" rabbet taken out of it. The smaller one is 1 3/4 by 4 1/2 with a little 1/8" rabbet taken out of it. Those rabbets are just for decoration. They match the rabbets on the face of the clock, and it gives it, again, I think, that Art Deco look, to just add the shadow lines of those little 1/8" rabbets. So once you've put this all together and finished it, I think you have a very nice looking Art Deco clock. You can design that face any way you like. I've got a video you can look up on my channel for printing clock faces. Printed this one myself using Roman numerals. And that's what the finished clock looks like in SketchUp. And here's what it looks like in real life. Again, this is natural birch. You could make this out of walnut. I've made one out of beech before. I like this light colored wood. I think it gives sort of an Art Deco look. Again, you can see it's just 1/8" rabbets all over the place that give it the decoration, to give it some nice shadow lines, which are kind of typical of Art Deco architecture. And I think the Roman numerals also lend themselves to Art Deco design. Thanks for watching.